Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Have you ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome? The term Stockholm Syndrome refers to a psychological response where the victim develops positive feelings towards their captor or abuser. It's named after a hostage crisis that took place in Stockholm, Sweden in 1973. That's where 4 bank employees were held hostage for 6 days by 2 robbers. One of the hostage takers was eventually killed by police, and the other one, Jan, was captured and put on trial. But during the trial, it was discovered that the hostages had developed positive feelings towards Jan and even defended him in court. This strange phenomenon led to an abundance of theories about it from psychologists, but in the end they weren't able to come up with a solid answer for why this happened. However, they did continue to observe similar situations over the years, and with each new observation they were able to add more details to what we know about Stockholm Syndrome today. Stockholm Syndrome isn't a formal diagnosis. It hasn't been included in any diagnostic manuals like the DSM or ICD, but it is a well-documented phenomenon that has been observed countless times around the world. Keep watching to learn more about it. Number 1. It can happen in many different situations. As mentioned earlier, Stockholm Syndrome was first observed during a hostage situation, but since then, experts have realized that it can happen whenever there is a power imbalance between 2 people. This could be between a boss and an employee, a teacher and a student, or even between friends. It has also been observed in cases of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, cult membership, and human trafficking. Number 2, it doesn't happen to everyone. Not everyone who experiences abuse or trauma will develop Stockholm Syndrome. It seems to happen only to a select few individuals. But at the moment, psychologists are unsure what makes these people different from the ones who don't develop Stockholm Syndrome. Number 3, it's often accompanied by trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is a term used to describe the strong emotional attachment that develops between the victim and the abuser. This bond is created through a cycle of abuse, which consists of the abuser being kind and showing affection to the victim, followed by periods of abuse and mistreatment. The victim becomes attached to the abuser because of this inconsistency, and they may even start to justify their abusive behavior. Number 4, the victim may become overly empathetic towards the abuser. In some cases, the victim may start to feel bad for their abuser and may even defend them. This was observed in the 1973 Stockholm Syndrome case, when the hostages defended Jan even though he had threatened their lives. They claimed that they understood his point of view, and that he was actually a nice guy who was just trying to take money from the bank to support his sick mother. Number 5. It's not uncommon for victims to make excuses for their abusers. Victims may try to rationalize or make excuses for their abuser's behavior. For example, a woman who is being abused by her partner may tell herself that he has just stressed out from work or that he didn't mean to hit her. They might try to convince themselves and others that the abuse is not that serious and that the abuser is a good person deep down. Number 6. The victim may self-isolate and cut ties with loved ones. When someone develops Stockholm Syndrome, they may start to isolate themselves from friends and family members. They may distance themselves from people who try to help them, because they don't want to cause trouble or because they're afraid of what their abuser will do if they find out. In extreme cases, the victim may even cut off contact with their loved ones completely. Number 7. The victim may deny that anything is wrong. Another sign that someone may be developing Stockholm Syndrome is that they deny that anything is wrong. They may insist that they are happy in their relationship despite the mistreatment they face. They might say that they don't need help and that their problems are not that serious. This is likely due to the trauma bonding they feel towards their abuser. Number 8. The victim may be extremely anxious when they're not around their abuser. If someone is suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, they may feel extremely anxious when they're not around their abuser. This is because they have become so used to the abuser's presence and their behavior has become unpredictable. The victim may constantly worry about what the abuser is doing and whether they're thinking about them. Number 9. The victim may become hypervigilant. Being in an abusive relationship can be scary and stressful, and as a result, the victim may become hypervigilant. Hypervigilance is a state of constant alertness and readiness for danger. The victim may always be on the lookout for signs of abuse or aggression from their abuser. They may become easily startled and may jump at sudden noises or movements. The victim may suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, otherwise known as PTSD. PTSD is a mental health condition that can occur after experiencing a traumatic event. People who develop Stockholm Syndrome may have been through a traumatic experience, such as being held hostage, kidnapped, or abused. As a result, they may suffer from PTSD symptoms, such as flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, and avoidance of reminders of the trauma. 11. Some people who develop Stockholm Syndrome are brainwashed. Brainwashing is a form of psychological manipulation that is often used in cult settings. It involves gradually changing a person's beliefs and behaviors through repeated exposure to new ideas and concepts. People who are brainwashed may become isolated from the outside world and may lose their sense of identity and individuality. This can happen slowly over time, and the victim may not even realize that they are being manipulated. Number 12. Some people who develop Stockholm Syndrome are under the age of 25. According to some experts, those who are under the age of 25 are more likely to develop Stockholm Syndrome than those who are older. This is because younger people are still developing and are more susceptible to peer pressure and social influence. Additionally, they may not have the life experience necessary to recognize the signs of abuse or manipulation. Number 13. Some people who develop Stockholm Syndrome have low self-esteem can make someone more vulnerable to developing Stockholm Syndrome. This is because people with low self-esteem tend to doubt their own judgment and may be more likely to believe the lies and manipulation of their abuser. They may also be less likely to assert themselves and stand up for themselves when they are being mistreated. And number 14. In some cases, the victim's survival may depend on their relationship with their abuser. In certain situations, the victim may depend on their abuser for their very survival. This is especially true in cases of kidnapping, human trafficking, and domestic abuse. If the victim is dependent on their abuser for basic needs such as food, water, or shelter, they may be more likely to develop Stockholm Syndrome. They may feel that they owe their abuser something and may become loyal to them as a result. So do you know anyone who may be a victim of Stockholm Syndrome? Let us know in the comments below. We hope that we've been able to provide some insight into this complex psychological phenomenon. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and share it with others who may be interested. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Thanks for watching.